Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Spark Creativity Teacher Podcast, a podcast for English teachers in search of creative teaching strategies. Whether you're new to the show or a longtime listener, I'm really glad you're here for today's edition of Highly Recommended. This week, I want to talk about argument and why it seems so esoteric to kids when they learn about it at school, and so relevant when they watch it unfold on their screens. This week, a member of our Lighthouse community threw out a question about whether the 5-paragraph essay is dead. It really got me thinking about my experience as someone who basically writes all day long. I write podcasts, blog posts, Instagram carousels, social media captions, interview outlines, and emails from morning to night. And I am very often trying to argue something. I argue that slam poetry will help you engage your students with poems, or that it's important to build art and design into ELA classes because communication is increasingly through multimedia, or that student podcasting isn't as hard as it seems. But do I use the 5-paragraph essay structure that I learned back in high school? Do I use formal language and avoid contractions and keep slang out of it and always use third person? Interesting question. I often do use elements of the 5-paragraph essay. Hooks still matter. Introducing what a piece is going to be about from the get-go so people know what to expect. Yeah, I do that. Supporting ideas with anecdotes, statistics, or relevant visuals to help bring home a point that makes the argument. Yes, check. Wrapping it all up, at least to some extent, with a concluding bow. Yeah, I still think that's important. However, I almost never go with formal language or third person, and the extensive online writing class that I paid quite a bit to take a long time ago basically told me that I had better use contractions or suffer the consequences of sounding stilted and distant. Slang, pop culture references, and a good GIF often help me make my point. Even emojis have been recommended to me by professionals in the online community as important additions to certain types of writing. So this week, I want to suggest that you talk with kids about how argument shows up in their world. Maybe even ask them to go on a scavenger hunt for argument. What TikTokers out there are making arguments? What are YouTubers trying to sell, and how do they make their case? What Instagram accounts make a good enough point that students are willing to stick around and read what the author has to say? These are arguments being made as surely as students are often asked to make arguments about The Great Gatsby, and the two are more related than it might seem on the surface. I want to suggest that you think about ways you can build argument into other types of assignments besides an argumentative essay, but export the language, show the parallels. Teach kids the power of a hook on a research-based Instagram carousel. Show them how they need to use real evidence to back up the main points in an infographic, and how they're still going to need an MLA-based sources cited. Let them try writing emails to the school board about something they're passionate about, and don't stipulate the number of paragraphs so much as the clarity of the ideas and the evidence to support them. At this point, I think of the 5-paragraph essay as a super scaffolded practice round for the writing waiting for kids outside of school. Is the 5-paragraph essay dead? Nope. Is it the end-all, be-all of argument? Definitely not. Can we frame it that way for our kids, kind of like batting practice for a professional athlete? Yep. And this week, I want to highly recommend that we do.